So it's Spring Statement Day. Brace yourself, everyone. It's you actually have to laugh in a way, because it's kind of like it just couldn't get any worse, could it? It really couldn't get any worse. On the education front, brilliant article in the Daily Mail today. If you haven't read it, do have a read. Robert Hardman highlighting something that I think is missed in so much of this talk about private education, which is the children, and what this is doing. You know, can you imagine, we're up to 23 schools that have closed since January. Can you imagine if it was 23 state schools? Can you imagine what we'd be hearing? Yeah, because it's 23 private schools. Bridget Phillipson hasn't even had the dignity as the Education Secretary to offer her condolences. And I say condolences like it's a bereavement, because it is a bereavement for kids who are having their schools whipped away from them and having to go and find new friendship groups, new teachers. I mean, having to find a place, which, as we know, is virtually impossible at the minute. And, you know, everyone will say, well, they can go to state school, it's perfectly okay. Well, it would be if there were places. And you're assuming that they're going to get the good state school, because we all know, for the very reason that people did not put the bad state schools on their top choices, that nobody really wants them. And it's not children's jobs to raise the standards, that's the word I'm looking for, is it? But this is the theory behind it, that if all the kids from private schools go into state schools, they'll raise the standards. I mean, how insulting for a start. If you are in one of those state schools, can't do it yourself, let's get the private kids in. And I mean, let's just see that on face value for what it is. We're using your children as a political pawn. I mean, do one. Actually, just go and do one. And this is where I feel the argument needs to be. I'm bored with stats and graphs and this percentage and birth rates falling and all of that rubbish. Right now, today, children are leaving schools that are closing because Bridget Phillipson and Rachel Reeves put 20% VAT on the fees and then whacked up national insurance contributions. That is the headline. That is what's going on the death certificate. And if we ever needed any proof as to why they were doing it, we only have to look at the ridiculous interview with Ellie Reeves, Rachel's sister, that's doing social media, where if you could be Prime Minister for a day, Ellie, what would you do? I'd abolish private schools. Well, for a start, Ellie, you also talk about karaoke, and personally thinking that's a better career choice for you, because politics is not where it's at with statements like that. And what is it that has made the Reeves sisters and Bridget Phillipson and Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer so anti-children? I can only conclude that they are harbouring such a grudge from their own childhood that they are putting that in place of your children, both in state and in private. They are harbouring a grudge against children. And Ellie Reeves said it herself.